Welcome back to Campfire Whispers, your daily fix of horror stories, unsolved mysteries, and straight-up unbelievable content. My name is Eki, and today I'm sharing a story called The Shadow Behind the Curtain. Julia Abramson had always loved old houses, the creaks, the hidden attic rooms, the way each floorboard held its own story. So when she inherited her aunt's Victorian home in Rosewood, she felt like she'd struck gold. At 30, she'd built her freelance photography business from the ground up, but inside that house, she felt grounded, almost anchored. The house was grand. Ornate wooden trim, narrow windows with lace curtains, and floors that groaned underfoot. But the crowning jewel was the master bedroom's triple window, draped in heavy, ivory curtains that let in golden morning light. Or at least they had, until the day she pulled them back and realized something was off. A shadow, just beyond the sheer curtain, a dark shape that was always there. It started slowly, a flicker in the corner of her eye, movement that vanished when she turned to look. At first, she told herself it was her imagination, jet lag, long hours editing, the stress of inheriting the house. But over time, it grew more assertive. She began waking at 3:17 a.m. every single night. At exactly 3:17, the curtains would twitch ever so slightly, as if someone dared to breathe behind them. She'd stare at the window, pulse pounding, wondering if she'd ever be brave enough to part them and look. She never was. A week after moving in, Julia decided she needed answers. She researched her aunt's death. It had happened under ordinary circumstances, a fall on the stairs, they said. But neighbors whispered of confusion, of desperate eyes peering through the curtains, as though her aunt, or someone else, had seen something and couldn't look away. Julia's nights grew sleepless. She started taping the curtains with a GoPro. The next morning, she found the footage corrupted, looping static at 3:17 a.m., then a single frame, a curved, tapered silhouette, the length and shape of a slender limb, shaking just outside the curtain's edge. She replayed it second by second, hoping the blur would make sense. But the shape held firm, a single moment more ominous than any movie jump scare. She braved removing the curtains one night. She expected lengthening night, maybe the dark silhouette. Instead, she found the glass pane damp with condensation, and beyond it, the world untouched. No porch, no trees, just the backyard sleeping under moonlight. Yet she felt it, something just beyond the pane, a pressure that urged her to step closer. Her breath hitched. She swung the curtains back shut and ran from the room, not daring to look again. Julia reached out to a local historian who told her that years ago, a housemaid named Clara lived and died in that bedroom. Clara was obsessed with her mistress, Julia's aunt, believed their souls were entwined. She'd been found huddled behind the curtains, chanting in fading voice, "Stay here. Don't go. Wait for me." When Clara was removed, Julia's aunt had inherited the mental trauma. She withdrew, pulled the curtains tight, and refused to speak another word. That night, Julia slept with the bedroom door open and the curtains sealed. At 3:17, she awoke to muffled footsteps. Thump, thump, coming from behind the curtain. Not the light slipping of someone standing, but marching. Her head pounded. The room swayed. She saw the curtain move, then whimpered, and fell asleep from shock. Morning came. The window was open an inch. Fresh wind, dew on her sheets. She hired an electrician, a handyman, had the window replaced, faucets fixed, floorboards reinforced. But the feeling returned. The curtains moved at 3:17. The breathing, it was hushed, slow, just behind the fabric. It was almost soft. One night, she awoke to hear a whisper through the curtains. Julia, her blood turned to ice. She froze. No one else was in the house. The whisper came again, just her name, soft and insistent. She reached for her phone, but the batteries drained instantly. No dial tone. The cold seized her lungs. She called a friend, Maria, asking for help. Maria arrived at dusk, flashlight in hand. Together, they approached the heavy drapes. Maria dared to part them, just enough to peer out. Nothing. The glass was clean, the night sky clear. A single tree branch shook in the wind, perfectly in time with her aunt's old rocking chair. They laughed nervously and replaced the curtain back. But on the pillow, when Julia turned her head after they left, was a pressed flower. A tiny white lily, like the ones Clara used to press into her journal. From then on, Maria stayed. They barricaded the bedroom door, locked the window, and covered the camera lens. Nothing mattered. Not sleep. Not relief. On the fourth night, they woke to screaming. Hi, desperate yelps. But not Julia's. Maria was gone. Only Julia remained in the bed, eyes wide and wet, breathing too fast. She stared at the curtains for hours, not moving until dawn. Maria never returned. The next morning, Julia found muddy footprints on the bedroom floor. Bare, small, leading to the curtains. And on the windowsill, for the first time, there were handprints, long and narrow. Human, but not entirely. Julia's heart shattered. She packed her things in silence, refusing to leave until she had answers. At exactly 3:16 a.m., she crept down the hall. The air smelled of damp earth and old wood. She entered the bedroom, knelt in front of the window, and slowly pulled the curtains aside. Behind the glass, in the faint moonlight, she saw a figure, a tall woman draped in old-fashioned clothes, fingernails long like claws. Her silhouette flickered. Her face was pale, with empty eyes and a broad, frozen smile. She stared, like she'd been waiting a lifetime. "Julia," she whispered, "come sit." Julia's mouth was dry. She felt the urge to step through the glass, to sit beside her, to join. The figure extended a hand, but the glass rippled like water and she vanished. The curtain snapped shut. The next morning, the police found Julia gone, the bedroom window open just enough to climb through. Beside it, a single pressed white lily. They found no body in the yard, no footprints in the grass. Just one thing. The pale curtains moved aside, hanging like an invitation. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Join me next time for more unbelievable tales on Campfire Whispers.